Hello YouTube world, welcome back to the workshop. A couple of weeks ago I did a project. I was talking about Lathe concentrated water dyes as a good entryway to get into colouring wood. This week I want to do a little project and it's using chestnut spirit stain, and again you can buy, there's 10 and there's definitely 10 of these. So you get 10 in a pack. There's whites, blacks, blues, purples, greens, whites, orange, browns. There's all sorts of colours in there. I think it's 25 millilitres in a bottle. As I say, there's 10 different colours. It costs about around 20 quid, just over 20 quid. And again, that spirit stain, it does go an awful long way. And what I did, I bought the starter pack because I wasn't sure what colours I would be using. Since I've been out, and you can buy these. These are Hampshire Sheen range. They're intrinsic colour collection. This one's a midnight blue, and they're £7 for 250 millilitres. And that intrinsic colours, they're very good because they give off a slightly different hue depending on what angle you look at them. So you get like a just slightly different shade colours, and it's very good. The other ones are these chestnut spirit stains, and they vary depending on what colour you buy. So the project I'm going to do for you today is this bowl, and it is really, that's two blues. We've got a light blue, we've got a dark blue, and then we've got a purple. So just let me zoom in on that and have a quick look. So that's the project. You can see the blues coming through, the purples coming through there. There's the purple coming through there. And this gives you a real depth of colour.
What I didn't say at the time was how much it highlights the grain, which I particularly like. It picks out that middle grain really nice.
So that is the project we're making today. As I say, just a nice cheap entry level into colouring wood. And the good thing about buying those starter packs, it does, you know what colours you're going to use. I think I've said before, I tend to stick with the autumnal colours, browns, oranges, reds, browns and the black. I know that they all mix together very well and they look nice when they're finished. For me to go into blues and purples, there's a bit of a divergence for me, but I still think it looks quite nice. So stick around, watch the video, I'll show you how I do it. So I turned the sand and finished the back. And what I'm going to do now is just dribble some thin CA glue into that crack. Just set that. A bit more. And set that.
So there was quite a large gap all the way around this knot where it had shrunk, and originally I was going to fill it with 2-part epoxy resin, mix it with the dye. But I decided to fill it with sawdust and spray it with CA glue. You can see what I've used there is the belt, is the bag off my sander, very good source of sawdust, and I'm just gradually working it down into the crack, and then I'm going to put some CA glue on and then just spray it with an accelerator to make it go off quicker.
Right, YouTubers, I've filled all that with sawdust and CA glue. I'm just going to work out whereabouts my rim's going to be and where my bowl's going to be. Probably around there somewhere. Probably be the rim to there. That's still give me quite a nice sized bowl. Let me get to there actually. Yeah, give me a nice big rim and a nice big bowl. And we'll see what that turns up like. Hopefully it'll be quite good. So what I'm going to do, just going to go in with a parting off tool just to mark the rim there, and then I'm going to put a curve on the rim so that it leads the eye and leads you into the bowl. So I've sanded that down now to around 240 grit. As I have said in my previous videos, I don't like to sand it any much more than that because you tend to almost seal the wood. You end up burnishing it, and the wood dyes don't really seem to like to soak into the wood. They seem to just sit on the top. So here I am. I'm starting with a light blue I'm putting on here. I remembered my rubber gloves this time. As I said in the previous video as well, if you're going to do stuff like this, put it on with a paper towel. Do use a good quality paper towel. If you find that you use the cheap ones, they just start to break up after a couple of seconds, and you end up picking off little bits of paper off your project. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going all the way around with the light blue. Just gradually apply it around, and you see already the grain starting to pop out of there, with the colours just highlighting the grain pattern within it. Just work around a little bit on the paper towel. A little bit does go a long way with these dyes. And if you find that you do get on well with these and you do like it, you know, this is something you do very easily with an airbrush. It's quite easy to apply these spirit stains with airbrush. Much more so than with the concentrated water dyes, simply because they're pre-mixed to a certain level of viscosity that will flow through the airbrush very easily. So I'm just trying to work my way into the still not a perfectly even surface around there, and then there were still some blemishes in there, and I was just trying to work some of the blue into it. So once all that blue's finished, I then moved on to the darker blue. So here and now we've now started with the darker blue, or midnight blue I believe it's called. Again, just a little bit on the cloth, and then just work it into the grain as we go around. I'm not looking to completely cover the project, the same as I did with the light blue, because what we want to get is like a streaky effect on the wood, so that it highlights some of the grain and leaves some of the others. So we're just looking to put this on quite patchy, just put it on in places, just trying to build up the depth of colour and the contrast. So that's 2 layers of colour built up, the 2 blues, and then what I'm doing now is I'm going in with this is a 600 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going in, and I just want very gently take some of that colour off. I don't want to take it back to bare wood, and I don't want to take too much of the colour off. So as you can see there, I've still got both of the blues. You can see in different places different coloured blues showing through there. So then what I'm going to do now is go back and start with the light blue again and just build up that colour. So we're going to go in, give it another layer of light blue,
Just working it all into the grain, coming at it in different directions, predominantly working with the grain, but then just work around so it goes into all the grains. And you see how it sits in mostly in the summer growth rings, the wider rings, it wants to sit in there. So now we go back to the dark blue, and again we're just looking for this streaky effect, trying to keep with the grain, with the pattern of the grain, and just trying to build up the colours and just trying to get that nice streaky effect on it. And this is no real know-how, no knowledge. It really is just a matter of putting on, just splashing on where you think it will look nice. And as I've said before many times, a great thing about doing this on wood, if you don't like it, you just sand it off and you can start again. So here now I'm just applying the purple, because the purple, where it's darker than either of the two blues previous, gives you a very nice contrast, especially between the light blue and the dark blue. So again, I'm not looking to put it all over, just apply it in certain places just to give it that streaky look. Now here we go back again with a very fine sandpaper, and just very gently take some of that paint away. Just rub it back. And it really is just taking away the very top coat of the dye. There you can see, you still see the blues, two shades of blue and the purple showing through that very nicely. So I am back to where we started with the light blue again there. Just putting that over. And you still see, after I've been over that light blue, you still see the purple shining through in different places. And this is what you're trying to do, just build up that depth of colour, build up the layers of dye. Just build them up and build them up. And that is what will give you that real nice, deep, lustrous colour at the end. So now we're back with the dark blue. Just trying to pick up the odd pieces that are probably been sanded back a little bit too much around the rim. So all the colouring is now done, it's just a matter of following the bowl in the middle. Doing this, I've got my 3/8 bowl half-inch bowl gauge, and I've first just taken away, that was my chucking point, the tenon on the back. I've now taken that away, and I go to more traditional form of following. I will speed this bit up, it'll probably be about 4 times the normal speed, but you can certainly see what I'm doing. It was at this point I realised I still had my rubber gloves on.
sanded that right down now up to 600 grit sandpaper, and for the sand and sealer I'm going to use Libron. For the simple reason I don't think that it's quite as abrasive. Well, not abrasive, probably the wrong word. What I'm worried about, if I get cellulose sand and sealer on that wood, on the die, it will take it off. Whereas I don't think that Libron will. Although I've never actually put it to the test. It's lovely as soon as you put that sand sealer on there, all that grain pops right out. That does look lovely. Right, we'll get some wax on there, polish that up. Well, here we go, YouTube world. A finished project. All done. Blues, purples. So it's a light blue, I think it's a midnight blue or royal blue, I think they call that. And a purple. And that's a real depth of colour on there. When I picked this up, I didn't really look at the wood that well. And when I got it into the workshop, and I started looking at it, I saw a huge, great knot coming through there, and I nearly consigned it straight to the firewood pile. And I thought, no, I'll give it a go. It's only my time, and I'm retired. So time's the thing we've got plenty of, hopefully. And I think it turned out really nice, so I'm really quite pleased with that. I mean, if you like your wood unblemished, then I don't think it's wood that you should be buying. You know, wood does have wrinkles and knots and splits and things like that in it. All I liked all around that knot was all of this fantastic grain pattern. All in there. All down there, maybe back to front. It's very, very confusing. There. Oh, you can see for yourself. There's all that concentrated grain pattern all the way around there. And the same on the back. That runs all around there. And I think it's funny that didn't take colour. I could have understood right in the middle, because in the middle of there, because I put CA glue on there, and the wood dye quite often don't like it. All around here, and it's just gone a deeper brown. It's quite funny. I don't know why it's done that. But there you go. I quite like it. My wife said she liked it, and if she likes it, it must be okay. Leave something in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you like to see it free from knots and blemishes, or do you think a knot is a natural piece of the wood and you quite like it? Let us know what you think. Well, that's about it for this week. As always, I've been Steve Howe, and I have had a great day in the workshop today. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.